Hello and welcome to your next tutorial on Visual Basic. And today we're going to be discussing how to organize your data. And the two different ways we're going to learn this time around are enumerations and structures. And, well, I really want to stress, because since we're getting into more or less intermediate stuff now, to have a textbook, even if you're not taking a class, and I know not everyone can really afford one, so if you went to like Microsoft's MSDN website, you could find additional information, because no video tutorial will be able to show you everything. So I don't want you to think that I'm showing you everything or anything, because not trying to discourage you from watching this. It's that no video tutorial can show you everything, and this stuff is going to get more complicated. But anyways, let's figure out how to create an enumeration first before we do structures. So enumerations, exactly what are they? Well, basically it's you creating your own data type, and you set the bounds. You set specifically what values can be used or to be associated with that data type. So let's say, I think it was double. I think the double data type ranged from like negative 32,000 to positive 32,000. It was one of them. I can't remember. But basically, it's telling you what is valid with that data type and what isn't. So now we're going to do that. And these guys will be used for structures in a moment, so you don't have to worry about these. So I have no code, as you can see. So let's create an enumeration. So private enum, so enum is the keyword you use here. And what do we want to call it? In this example, I'm going to use the different parts of the day, so I'll call it daylight, as, and then these are the different data types that you can use to associate with this enum, or enumeration. So they're just all integers, basically. So I'm just going to use integer. And the errors, because we have no members, so let's create a member. Alright, so anytime you use the number 0 associated with this data type that we created, it will associate itself with morning. So you don't have to use, you don't have to type in or we will have to type in morning ourselves in this example, but basically when 0 is associated with this enumeration, it'll think of morning, basically. And you'll see what I mean in a moment, or in later. So what are some different parts of the day? Noon equals 1, I don't know, evening is 2, and I'm not going to do all of them. There's also night, or afternoon, whatever you want to do. Should I do them all? Nah, I won't do them all. But, nah, I won't. So yeah, so these are the values that you want to have returned anytime you're associating yourself with this enumeration via these values. And you'll see what I mean. And it doesn't have to be with these values. There's another way, which I don't really recommend, but you'll see in a moment. So let's create a button. Let's call it I don't know. Let's call it check and btn check. And basically we want to return, we want an input box to be created. We type in what part of the day, and it will return that part of the day. This is a pretty bad example, because we're going to be literally typing in these words, and it will be returning these words. But you can think of other ways to use these. I'm just, But let's see here. So first of all, let's create a variable called input as string. And, oh my goodness. And I'll set this equal to an input box. And we'll say, what part of the day is it? And type in morning, night, something like that. Give them an idea of what to type in so they don't make a mistake. So let's throw an example and a question mark. And default value, I don't know, type here. Something like that. And you know what? Let's return what they should actually be eating instead. So they're going to type in morning or whatnot, breakfast, lunch. See, I'm doing this all off the top of my head. I don't always do that. I'm sorry. I usually have notes for everything, but other times I don't know. I just think I can do it. I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I'm sorry. But okay, so we're going to create a variable. It will be equal to the string of whatever we type in. And before we actually do anything with that, let me just show you how to access your enumeration. So this is just going to be nothing. You don't have to worry about that. Let me just make it a comment. So how do you access the information in here? So let's create a variable called let's call it check, and as the data type. So the one we created in this enumeration is daylight. So I'll call it daylight, and then you can set it equal to one of these guys. Really, this is the bad way. I never really use it this way. You can use it this way. It doesn't matter. But let's just go with breakfast, and let's have that pop up. So message box dot show. We type in the check that we just created dot toString, and then output, and then okay, information. That should pretty much work out, right? So click check, and we get breakfast back, because it says, you know, this variable, this check is equal to daylight, which is this, dot breakfast, which is this guy, and it just returns that value. And of course you can just return the value on this side as well, and it can be, you know, whatever you type in, really. It can. So I'll go with what am I going to go with? 0. So that works. You click save, and it should still return breakfast, and it does. Now there's going to be a bit of a problem. If I type in 2, I now get a option strict disallows conversion from integer to the enumeration that we created. So in order to get around this, we can type out the C type, which is something I've not gone over before. This is like C int or C double or whatnot. And we want to be able to convert it. We can't use C int for an example because it's just going to convert it to an integer. It's not going to convert it to this enumeration that we created. So what you do is, in the C type, when you use C types, let me just make a note here. So the value you want converted goes first, comma, and the data type that you want to convert it to. This is how you use the C type. So we want to convert the 2 to this specific data type. So it's daylight. There it is. So we want to convert the number 2 to the daylight enumeration that we created. So I click save. So that's our way of getting around the option strict, because you always want to have that on. And now we get dinner, because 2 is associated with dinner. Alright, so let's I'm actually going to cut this, and now let's create a series of if statements to mess with whatever we type in. So if, let's create an if statement here, and I actually want to get rid of this right here. So if input is equal to morning, so the person types in morning, then let's paste this, Control V, and let's see here, cut this and paste. Oh, whoops, we want to have that a string right there. If we type in a string of morning, then this will pop up. And let's make an else, because I don't want to, I'm kind of lazy. Well, it's not that I'm lazy, I can't actually fit this all in here. So if we didn't get everything correct, so I'm just going to do this for morning. You can check for each value they type in, so you could have it night and whatnot. So, oh, we got to declare this guy. So copy, paste, there we go. And this is actually, we don't need this here. This is an error. So instead of having this guy right here, we just make it invalid input. There we go. So I click save. So now it's going to ask me what part of the day is it. Morning is the only one that works because that's all I typed in. And we get dinner because I didn't change that back to a 0. Sorry about that, but we want that to be breakfast instead. But that's how that works. And you can create a bunch of else ifs, and that's just a little example of how you can use enumerations. That's pretty cool, right? Now let's learn about structures. I hope I can fit this all in one video. You know what? I don't think I can, so I'm just going to leave it here, and yeah, I'll see you in the next tutorial, and we're going to learn about structures.